The sound that tore through the marble-floored mansion wasn't just a slap. It was the sound of betrayal, of disbelief. Thwack! Then a shriek. When Chidi stormed into the living room, his heart stopped. His mother, Mama Nkichi, was on the floor, clutching her face, her wrapper half torn, her eyes filled with tears. Hovering over her, breathing hard, was Amara, his wife, the woman he had married out of love, the woman everyone said was too proud to bow to anyone. Amara! Chidi's voice cracked through the air. What? What are you doing? Amara froze, her chest heaving. The slipper in her hand trembled as her eyes darted between Chidi and his mother. For a moment, silence hung thick, until Mama Nkichi whimpered. She beat me. Your wife beat me because I told her not to shout at the maid. Chidi's eyes widened. His throat tightened as anger surged through him. The air in the room felt charged, heavy, electric. His security guards, drawn by the commotion, stood helpless by the doorway, afraid to intervene. Amara dropped the slipper and stammered. It's not what it looks like, Chidi. She provoked me. I told her to stop interfering in our marriage, but she wouldn't listen. Mama Nkechi sobbed. I raised you better than this, my son. This woman has no respect. Chidi's mind spun. The billionaire tech mogul who commanded entire boardrooms suddenly felt powerless in his own home. His hands trembled, not from fear but from the weight of rage. The cameras in the living room blinked faintly in the corner, their red lights recording every second. You hit my mother? He said slowly, his voice almost a whisper. Under my roof. Chidi, please. But he didn't let her finish. He turned away, his jaw tightening. Pack your things, he said coldly. You're leaving tonight. Her mouth fell open. You can't be serious. Over this? She's been insulting me for months. Chidi walked to his mother and helped her up gently. Mama, come, he murmured, his tone softening for the first time. Then he looked up at Amara again, and there was something terrifying in his eyes. Calm fury, controlled power. You just made the biggest mistake of your life. As he led his mother away, Amara stood rooted to the spot, her mind spinning with panic. She thought she could manipulate him like always. She thought her beauty, her tears, her words could soften him. But this time, something was different. From the corner of the room, the blinking security camera kept recording, capturing the truth she would later wish had never been seen. Because by morning, that footage would leak, but not by accident. Chidi would make sure of it. And what he did next would shock not only Amara, but everyone who thought they knew him. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more gripping African stories like this one. What do you think Chidi will do next? Comment your predictions below. By dawn, the mansion was quiet, too quiet for a house that had burned all night with anger. Chidi didn't sleep. He sat in his glass-walled study overlooking Victoria Island, the Atlantic stretching out like a dark sheet, thinking about how everything had led to that slap echoing across his mother's face. People saw the headlines, "Young billionaire marries beauty from Accra," and thought the story ended at the wedding. They didn't see the small, stinging things, the way Amara would roll her eyes when Mama Nkechi corrected her about salt in the stew, the way Mama would insist on morning prayers even when Amara had a board luncheon to host, the way two strong women tried to hold one house without learning to share its center. Chidi missed the warning signs because he wanted peace so badly he mistook silence for harmony. It hadn't started in Lagos. It began the first holiday they spent in Atlanta, visiting Chidi's aunties. Amara dazzled, sharp, funny, magnetic. And the aunties loved her, until she snapped at one for calling her a girl who caught a big fish. That night she cried in the hotel and said, "Your family looks at me like I'm a hunter, not a wife." Chidi held her, promised to protect her, and installed rules at home. Respectful boundaries, weekly check-ins, a private therapist on retainer. For a while it worked. Then came the house staff drama. Mama felt responsible for the workers, especially the maid, Ifunanya, barely 20, new to the city, easily flustered. Amara wanted efficiency. Mama wanted patience. Twice Chidi mediated. The third time he installed the cameras. For safety, he said, but really because truth gets lost when love turns into competition. Now in the pale Lagos morning, The red light from the camera feed blinked on Chidi's laptop. The footage of last night played on repeat. Amara's raised hand, Mama's stumble, the maid's frightened gasp. He paused, scrubbed back, slowed the frame. He studied Amara's face, the fury, the hurt, the pride that wouldn't bend. He loved her once for that pride. Now it felt like a blade. He picked up his phone and called his head of communications. "I want this published," he said flatly. "Without commentary, just the video. Across our internal channels first." "Sir? The whole company? Our partners? This could ruin her. It could splash on you." "It's not revenge," he replied, though his jaw ached from how hard he was clenching it. "It's accountability. If my own mother isn't safe in my house, what do our interns think is safe in our offices? We teach by what we tolerate." He ended the call, then stepped into the guest room where Mama rested with a swollen cheek and righteous silence. "Mama," he said softly, "I'm sorry I didn't set firmer lines." She looked at him for a long time, then reached for his hand. "My son, set the line now, not to shame her, to stop the rot." In the hallway, Amara stood, still in last night's silk robe, eyes ringed and wild. "You're not releasing that," she said, voice breaking. "We can fix this privately." "Privately," he echoed, "after you raised your hand to the woman who raised me?" She stepped closer, a tremor in her voice. "Chidi, she provokes me. She calls me visitor in my own home. She checks the meals I order, corrects my speech before guests. I begged you to pick a side." "I picked our house," he said. "You set it on fire." He walked past her to the elevator, the decision already made, when his phone buzzed again. It was his legal counsel. "Sir, one more thing. You asked us to pull all camera angles." A pause. "There's audio from the corridor. You should hear it before we go live." Chidi returned to the study and pressed play. The tinny recording filled the room. Footsteps, a clatter of plates, Mama's voice, firm, tired. "Ifunanya, leave us." A door clicked, then Mama again, lower now. "You will not disgrace my son. I know what you're doing with his investor, Mr. Follerin." A beat of stunned silence. Amara's voice rose, tight as a wire. "Say that again." The slap came after. Chidi's hands went cold. Mr. Follerin, older, married, a cornerstone investor in their fintech expansion, had been at their home last month for a strategy dinner. Chidi had dismissed gossip. He always chose trust. He scrubbed forward. After the slap, Mama's trembling breath. "Confess before it destroys you. Before it destroys him." Chidi stared at the laptop. The truth was more jagged than the clean outrage he'd used to steady himself through the night. He could still publish the video. He could still set a line. But now a new threat crouched under the table. Scandal that could blow open his company, his marriage, and his name. He forwarded the audio to his counsel. Then, without warning, the mansion's power blinked and returned, the generator humming back to life. His laptop refreshed. On his company's internal social feed, a post had just gone live. 4 seconds of grainy footage. The slap. The gasp. It wasn't his communications team. His account had been used, and the clip was already being reshared by 3 senior managers and a partner bank. "We're a few minutes in. Tell me where you're watching from in the comments. Lagos, Accra, Atlanta, Nairobi, I want to know." What would you have done in this moment? Protect your mother at all costs or keep the marriage private? Have you ever seen something like this happen? Share below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who loves gripping drama. Turn on notifications so you don't miss what happens next. By mid-morning, the clip had spread through every office floor like Harmattan fire. Staff whispered in glass corridors. Phones tilted at angles as people pretended to read emails while replaying the slap. In the kitchen, the barista turned down Afro beats because no one could hear themselves think. Chidi walked through it all like a storm bottled in a suit, black tie, steady gait, eyes that took in everything and forgave nothing. He convened an emergency all hands. The auditorium filled, engineers, product managers, interns in branded hoodies. Keisha, his Atlanta-born PR director, stood at the back with folded arms and a jaw set like granite. On the side aisle, Ifunanya hovered, wringing the edge of her apron. Mama sat near the front, a head wrap hiding last night's swelling. Amara did not appear. Chidi took the mic. You've seen a video. It happened in my home. It involves my family. I will not excuse it. He paused, letting the room feel the weight. But you also deserve to know this company will be run with the same values we claim in public. Safety, respect, truth. Anyone who thinks our halls are a place for humiliation or harm, no matter how high, should find the exit. Heads lifted. A murmur of approval passed like a tide. Keisha signaled from the wings. He turned back to the crowd. There's more context you haven't seen. He didn't mention the corridor audio or Mr. Follerin. Not yet. We have begun a full forensic review. My account was used without authorization to post the clip. Until we finish, I'm stepping back from key decisions and implementing a temporary ethics committee drawn from staff. Keisha will chair it. Gasps. Chidi relinquishing power, even temporarily, felt like watching a lion kneel. But the gesture calmed the room. It said, "No one is above the rules, not even me." Back upstairs, he found Mama waiting in his office. "My son," she said quietly, "you humbled yourself today. That is leadership." "I may have to humble us more," he replied. "This won't stop at the office." His phone rang. Legal again. "We traced the unauthorized post," the counsel said. "It came from a device logged in with your executive admin token. The token was used last at 2:14 a.m., outside your study, near the south balcony." Chidi closed his eyes. Who has physical access at that hour? A beat. Household staff, security, family. He looked to the window where the lagoon gleamed under a pale sun. On the lawn below, a figure in a silk robe crossed toward the detached studio. Amara. He moved fast. At the studio door, he heard voices. Amara's, tight and fast, and a man's, low and coaxing. "You can flatten the timeline," the man said. "Make it look like she hit you first. You'll be the victim of an elderly aggressor. Public sympathy flips overnight." "I don't want sympathy," Amara snapped. "I want Chidi to learn that I won't be bullied by his mother." Chidi opened the door. A freelance editor, Malik Johnson, a young creator Keisha sometimes hired, sat behind a laptop, pausing frames of the slap. Amara spun around, startled and defiant. "You gave up on me the moment she cried," she said. "Now I protect myself." "You protect yourself by lying?" Chidi asked, voice low. "By rewriting what happened." Malik stood. "Sir, I was only troubleshooting. She said she needed a copy for legal." "Malik, go downstairs," Chidi said, eyes never leaving Amara. After the door clicked, he stepped closer. "Did you use my admin token?" Amara's chin lifted. "I didn't touch your account." "Then who did?" She glanced toward the hallway. Ifunanya stood there, small and stricken, as if glued to the floor. Amara's mouth curled. "Ask your little saint," Ifunanya flinched. "Oga, I swear!" Before she could finish, the front gates shrieked. A convoy of police vans rolled into the compound. Keisha called, voice tight. "Chidi, the press is outside and the police are at the lobby with a petition. It's from Amara's lawyers. Allegations of domestic intimidation and illegal surveillance." Chidi stared at his wife. For a heartbeat, the room was soundless except for the fan. Then Amara's eyes flashed with something like triumph and something like fear. He exhaled, slow and certain, and reached for the intercom. "Keisha, bring the officers up and call Mr. Follerin. Tell him I'm ready to speak, on the record." Because this was no longer only about a slap. It was about power, truth, and the kind of example a man sets when the whole city is watching. As the elevator chimed and boots thudded down the hall, Chidi slid a USB drive across the table. The corridor audio loaded and ready. "If we're doing this," he said to Amara, "we do it in the light." The door opened. An officer stepped in, papers in hand. "Mr. Chidi Okoye," he began, "you are hooked. Don't miss the next chapter. Like, subscribe and turn on notifications so you're first to hear what happens when truth, power, and family collide. What's your take so far? Should Chidi go public with everything? Comment your thoughts on the betrayal and the right response below. You are hereby invited for questioning on allegations of domestic intimidation and unlawful surveillance," the officer finished, his voice formal, unreadable. Papers rustled like dry leaves. Chidi didn't flinch. Officer, you will have our full cooperation. Before we proceed, there is evidence you must hear. He slid the USB across. Keisha arrived with her laptop plugged in, and the corridor audio filled the studio. Mama's accusation about Mr. Follerin, the crack of the slap, the warning. Confess before it destroys you. The officer's eyes flicked to Amara. Her chin trembled, then steadied. She cornered me, Amara said. She has called me names in my home. Yes, I snapped, but I am not a monster, and I never slept with Follerin. As if conjured by name, a knock sounded, and Mr. Follerin stepped in. Silver hair, tailored linen, expensive humility. Chidi, he began smoothly. I came as requested. We should handle this with discretion. I worry about your brand. My brand survives truth, Chidi said. Sit. Keisha's phone buzzed. She scanned the screen, then lifted her gaze. Before we go further, our cyber team traced the unauthorized post. She turned the screen. A log appeared. Timestamps, IP pings. The token originated from the south balcony at 2:14 a.m., used by a device registered to the household control tablet. The room pivoted toward Ifunanya in the doorway. She shook her head hard. No, Olga, I did not. Mama rose. It was me. Silence stunned the air. Even the fan seemed to pause. I saw the tablet on his desk, Mama continued, voice calm. I asked Ifunanya for the code to call the driver. She told me. When I passed the camera feed, I saw my face. Swollen. I thought, if this stays hidden, bad seeds will grow. So I posted it. Amara's laugh came out sharp. Look at the Holy One confessing. You wanted the world to pity you. I wanted the world to warn my son, Mama said. Shame me if you must, but secrets rot houses. The officer scribbled. Madam, you will provide a statement. But understand, vigilant posting does not erase the assault itself, nor does it confirm other claims. Chidi folded his hands, voice steady. Officer, you will also need to hear from Mr. Follerin. Follerin's smile thinned. This is beneath us. It is not beneath the young women you corner at fundraisers, Keisha said, cold as steel. She tapped the laptop again. New footage appeared, boardroom cameras from last month's strategy dinner. In the far corner, grainy but clear, Follerin pinned Amara between a credenza and a wall. His hand hovered too familiar at her waist. She shoved him off hard. He adjusted his cuff and walked out like nothing happened. The room changed temperature. Amara didn't look triumphant. She looked tired. I told you he disrespected me, she murmured. You said it was a misunderstanding. Chidi's jaw unclenched, then said again. He turned to Follerin. You will leave my house. You will send a written apology to my wife and staff, and you will recuse yourself from all deals with my company. Today. Follerin splayed his hands. Be careful, boy. Old friends own your future. Chidi stood. My future is not for sale. Keisha opened the door. Security escorted Follerin away, his cologne trailing like a warning. Chidi faced the officer. We will file a counter-complaint for harassment and for filing a false petition if any part is untrue. As for the assault, I won't bury it. Amara will have legal counsel. Mama will undergo a medical check. I will cover therapy for both. He looked at Amara last. And you will not live here while we investigate, not as punishment, as protection for everyone. Amara's composure cracked. So I'm the only one who loses a home? No, Chidi said quietly. We all lose something when respect breaks. Keisha's phone chimed again. She glanced down, then up, face tightening. Chidi, the press has a longer clip now. A neighbor's security camera caught the moment before the slap. Mama's finger in Amara's face. Harsh words. No physical hit, but hard provocation. They're framing it as toxic in-law culture. The officer closed his notebook. This just got bigger. Outside, camera shutters chattered at the gates. Inside, the air throbbed with a lesson the city would dissect for weeks. Boundaries, power, and the price of silence. Amara drew a breath as if stepping off a cliff. There's something else, she said, voice small but clear. and it will change what you think of me, of us. Her hand moved to her stomach. I'm pregnant. The room reeled. Mama's hand flew to her chest. The officer's pen stopped. Keisha exhaled a curse under her breath. Chidi did not move. The storm inside him, held so neatly, finally cracked open. We're at a turning point. What would you do now if you were Chidi? Should he protect his mother first, protect his marriage, or protect the truth wherever it leads? Don't watch in silence. Like, subscribe, and share this with someone who loves layered drama. And tell us where you're watching from. Lagos, Accra, Nairobi, Johannesburg, Atlanta, Houston? Your perspective matters. Turn on notifications so you don't miss the word pregnant drain the room of sound. For a long moment, no one moved. Then Chidi drew a slow breath and did what people never expected rich men to do. He set aside ego and set down rules. Officer, he said quietly, I will honor the invitation to the station today. Before I go, I'm setting a response that will guide my house and my company. He turned to Keisha. Schedule a closed forum at the Civic Hall this evening. No cameras from the press, a certified therapist, a faith leader, and an independent mediator at the table. Mama, Amara, Ifunanya, senior staff. We will follow 4 rules. No lies, no insults, no violence, and equal consequences for everyone, including me. Keisha nodded, already typing. The officer, surprised, scribbled something that sounded like respect. Chidi faced Amara. You will have a doctor's appointment today. I will pay for a high-risk specialist in security to keep the press away. You cannot stay here while the case is live, but the company apartment at Echo Pearl is yours until this is resolved. Mama will stay here with full care. Ifunanya, you move to the staff quarters at the office for now. No one crosses lines. Amara blinked hard. You're protecting me? I'm protecting all of us, he said, and I'm teaching my people that anger is not policy. When the police convoy left with a polite promise to reconvene at the station, the compound settled into a tense rhythm. Lawyers moved in and out. A doctor examined Mama's cheek and handed over a report. A second car whisked Amara to the specialist. Chidi signed paperwork, answered calls, and refused to hide. By late afternoon, the city hummed with a question. What does power look like when it chooses order over humiliation? At the Civic Hall, Chidi stood before a semicircle of chairs and a plain table with water and tissues. Keisha opened with ground rules. The therapist, a calm Ghanaian woman named Dr. Sika, invited each person to speak in short, clear sentences. Mama went first. My mouth was sharp, she admitted. I feared losing my son to a stranger. Fear makes old women foolish. Her voice wavered. I should have left the room. Amara's voice was softer than anyone had heard in months. I felt alone in a big house, she said. I felt watched and judged. I raised my hand. I regret it. I am ashamed. Ifunanya clutched her fingers. I gave Mama the tablet code, she confessed. I did not know she wanted to post. But she reached into her apron and pulled out an envelope. I found this in my locker this morning. I don't know who put it there. Inside lay neat bundles of cash and a note on a torn page. Make sure the clip spreads. Use the admin thing again. Keisha's brows knit. Who has been near your locker? Only staff, Ifunanya said. And the guard who signs for deliveries. Chidi looked at the security chief. Pull gate footage from dawn. 10 minutes later, on a laptop propped by the projector, the gate camera showed a courier at 6:02 a.m. handing a small parcel to the guard. The courier wore a cap low over his face, but the plate number on the bike was clear. The officer, attending quietly at the back, called it in. A ping came back fast. The bike was registered to a contractor linked to Mr. Folleran's media team. A murmur rippled around the room. The officer stood. We will be visiting Mr. Folleran again. Chidi did not smile. He looked at the table. The water, the tissues, the people he loved, and the people who served him. Here is the lesson, he said, voice steady enough to still the hum. We don't excuse harm because we were hurt first. We also don't set fires to win arguments. From tonight, my house and company will live by one charter, truth with boundaries. He unfolded a single-page document Keisha had drafted. The Respect Charter, he read. 1. No physical or verbal violence. 2. Elders correct in private, spouses defend in public and discuss in private. 3. Staff are protected by the same dignity as family. 4. Consequences are clear. Therapy, suspension, restitution, and if needed, law. He signed it. Mama signed. Keisha signed. The officer initialed as witness. Then the hall lights flickered. Phones buzzed at once. Keisha glanced at her screen and blanched. Chidi, a live stream just went up from an anonymous channel. It's the neighbor's longer clip with commentary accusing you of weaponizing culture and turning the city against your wife. It's trending. Before Chidi could answer, the door swung open. A nurse burst in, breathless. Behind her, the specialist's driver. Sir, Amara fainted outside the clinic, he said. They've taken her to emergency. The doctor says there's bleeding. Mama's hand flew to her mouth. Chairs scraped. The officer stepped back to clear a path. Chidi's face tightened. Not rage this time, but fear. He grabbed his keys and ran. Breathe. What should come first? Justice, reputation, or mercy? Tell us your thoughts on this turning point. Like, subscribe, and share if this story has you hooked. Drop a comment with your take on Chidi's respect charter. Is it strong enough or too soft? The hospital smelled like antiseptic and rain. Chidi pushed through swinging doors with Mom at his side. Keisha close behind, the officer pacing them like a quiet shadow. A nurse led them down a corridor, voice steady. She's conscious. The bleeding has slowed. Doctor will speak with you. In the room, Amara lay pale against white sheets, an IV line snaking to her arm. Her eyes fluttered open as they entered, then fixed on Chidi. Fear and pride wrestled on her face and left a quiet, human tiredness. The baby? He asked, not trusting his voice. The obstetrician, calm, middle-aged, Ghanaian accent soft as rain, answered. Threatened miscarriage, likely stress-related. We've stabilized her, bed rest, regular monitoring. If her vitals remain steady for the next 72 hours, prognosis is good. Chidi nodded, exhaling as if he'd been underwater. Mama's fingers trembled. She tried to speak, failed, then cleared her throat. Amara, she said, eyes glossy. I was hard. I sharpened my tongue when I should have softened my heart. I fed a fire I could not control. Amara stared at the ceiling. I raised a hand I should have kept down, she whispered. I let anger pretend to be strength. Keisha stepped forward, practical as ever. For privacy, we've put security at the ward doors and the back stairwell. Press can camp outside, but they won't get in. She held up a folder. Also, the court approved an emergency order protecting medical records. No leaks from here. The officer's phone buzzed. He glanced at the screen, then at Chidi. We picked up the bike courier tied to Fulleran's contractor. He's talking. He lowered his voice. Says they were paid to push the neighbor's clip and stir a culture war around your mother-in-law to bury any harassment claims against Fulleran. Silence pooled in the room. The shape of the battle changed. Not just family chaos, but a campaign. Amara turned her head, eyes finding Chidi's. There's a voice note thread on my phone, she said slowly. From Fulleran. He kept calling after I shoved him away that night. I saved all of it. I didn't tell you because I thought you'd say I made enemies. I didn't want to be your liability. Chidi held out his hand. Password? She hesitated, then gave it. Keisha paired the phone to a hospital tablet. A voice filled the room, Fulleran's polished tone curdling into threat. Don't act above me, girl. You like the rooms men like me open? Keep your mother-in-law in check, or you'll learn how doors close in this city. The next note was worse, and the one after that. When the last file ended, Mama closed her eyes, grief and fury braided tight. The officer slipped the tablet into an evidence bag. This will help, he said simply. The doctor returned with a chart. Vitals are holding. She rests now. Chidi touched the rail of the bed. You are safe here, he told Amara, and meant it. We will argue in words, not weapons. We will tell the truth even when it cuts us. But we will not let anyone weaponize our brokenness for their power. Amara's eyes finally softened. Teach them that, she said. Teach me that. In the corridor, Keisha pulled Chidi aside. Two things. One, your respect charter is trending for the right reasons. Pastors, HR leads, even youth clubs are sharing it. 2. Bad news. Folleren's lawyers just filed for a temporary injunction freezing any company ethics actions that involve him. He's framing it as a vendetta by you to cover domestic misconduct. The hearing is in the morning. Chidi rubbed his temples. We'll meet it. Publicly. No spin, no smear. He looked back toward the room. But not tonight. They reached the elevator. The officer's radio crackled. Unit 3, copy. Anonymous channel live. Coordinates, Echo Atlantic, Pearl Residences penthouse, interior feed. Keisha's head snapped up. That's your company apartment, the one you just assigned to Mara. A new text hit Chidi's screen. A link. He tapped. The anonymous stream opened to a jittery, night vision view of a dark living room. Their living room, camera angled from a ceiling vent. A figure in housekeeping gray crossed the frame, stiff, like someone moving on instructions. Ifunanya. Chidi went cold. She's not there, he said. I moved her to staff quarters at the office. The figure turned toward the camera. Fear flashed in her eyes. She raised a hand as if to peel off an earpiece, then flinched at something off-screen. A second figure, only an elbow, a gloved hand, appeared, planting a slim black device behind a frame photo. The stream chat exploded. Inside job. Proof the billionaire spies on women. Culture War, Episode 2. Keisha whispered, they're staging you, in real time. The officer was already moving, barking orders into his radio. Seal the building. No exits without ID. Copy? Chidi stared at the screen, breath steadying into something colder than rage. We end this with light, he said, to no one and to everyone. We end it where no one can twist it. He lifted his phone, dialed a number he had avoided for years, the city's public forum center director. Book me the big hall, he said. Tomorrow at noon, no VIP section. Open mics, open evidence. I'm going to teach what accountability looks like. The stream flickered. The gloved hand reached for the camera. The feed cut to black. By noon, the city gathered under the bright lights of the public forum hall. Students with notebooks, aunties in Yale, tech bros in hoodies, market women on lunch break, church elders, neighborhood boys. No VIP rope, no special seats, just a stage, 2 long tables, and a screen. Chidi walked out with the steadiness of a bridge in rainy season. Keisha stood to his left, the officer to his right. Mama sat in the front row, palms pressed together. A nurse wheeled Amara in at the side entrance, a scarf framing her tired face. A doctor hovered near, ready to whisk her away if needed. Chidi spoke first. I am not here to perform innocence, he said. I am here to prove truth and teach what happens next. He nodded to Keisha. The screen lit up with a clean timeline. The house clip, the corridor audio, the boardroom footage of Folleren, the courier's gate delivery, the stage camera at the Echo Pearl apartment, the anonymous stream. Each item carried a timestamp, a source, a chain of custody. The officer added plain words about warrants and logs. When the voice notes from Folleren played over the hall speakers, a low murmur rolled like thunder that hadn't decided to break. Then came the part only a few expected. This forum is not only for evidence, Chidi said. It is for consequences. He turned to Mama. You posted the clip without consent. Not a crime, but a breach. You will lead a class at our company on anger, elders, and the new house. How to correct in love. And you will apologize to my wife for your words, not because she is blameless, but because you are responsible for yours. Mama stood, voice plain. Daughter, forgive my mouth. I feared losing my son, and forgot you were someone's daughter too. She sat, eyes wet. Chidi faced Amara. You raised a hand. You endangered trust. You will live apart until we complete counseling with Dr. Sika. You will issue a public apology, not to perform shame, but to own harm. You will also join Keisha and the HR team to build training for spouses and in-laws who share a roof. His voice did not harden. I will cover your care. I will protect your privacy. I will share custody of peace. Amara lifted the mic. I am sorry, she said, the sound small but steady. I let pride lead. I hurt Mama. I wounded a house that took me in. I will rebuild with truth, or I will let go with grace. She lowered the mic, eyes on the floor. The nurse squeezed her shoulder. Ifunanya, Chidi continued, you gave out a code without understanding the risk. You were also frightened and targeted. You will receive paid training in data protection and a transfer away from the house to a role at the office with mentorship. Safety first. Ifunanya nodded fast, relief like sunlight after a long storm. And for me, Chidi said, turning back to the crowd, I ignored warning signs because I wanted quiet more than health. I failed to set boundaries early. I will step back for 30 days from operational control, hand the ethics committee full authority on internal discipline, and publish the respect charter as our binding policy, home and office. He signed a fresh copy on the table. Keisha countersigned. The officer witnessed. A pastor in simple cloth and a youth counselor from Surelaire joined them to announce a household peace fund, seeded by Chidi's donation, matched by 2 banks before the live stream ended, offering free mediation and therapy to families in crisis, staff included. Hands rose across the hall. Questions, confessions, stories. A market woman asked, if the slap had not been filmed, would you still be here? Chidi said, we must build houses where truth doesn't need a camera to be believed. Then the officer stepped forward for the last piece. A magistrate has denied Mr. Follerin's injunction, he announced. He is under investigation for harassment, witness tampering, and cyber intrusion. The courier has confessed. Others will answer in court. The hall exhaled, not triumph, relief that power, for once, bent toward light. On the screen, the closing slide appeared. 4 lines from the respect charter. No slogans, no victory music, just rules a city could carry home. After the forum, Chidi walked Amara to the ambulance bay. Rain freckled the pavement. We are not healed, he said, but we are not hiding. She nodded, tears clean as the rain. Teach me to love without fighting for air. We will learn, he said. Or we will end without violence. He looked at her belly, then at her eyes. Either way, our child will inherit a house with rules. Mama joined them quietly. She took Amara's hand and placed it in her own. No speeches. Just a bridge built of touch. Weeks later, the company lobby displayed the respect charter beside a small plaque. Truth with boundaries. HR reported fewer whispered complaints and more early conversations. The Household Peace Fund booked out months ahead. In church halls, offices, and kitchens, people argued less about who won the scandal and more about where to draw lines they could keep. And in a quiet clinic room, a soft heartbeat kept time. Steady, stubborn, alive. Not the end of struggle, but the start of a lesson that wouldn't need headlines to survive. Thank you for staying through to the end. If this story moved you, don't leave quietly. Like, subscribe, and share it with someone who loves gripping, meaningful drama. What did you learn from Chidi's response? Too hard, too soft, or just right? Comment your thoughts on the betrayal, boundaries, and mercy below. Turn on notifications so you never miss the next story.